Greetings and salutations, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the British and Irish Pro League for week number 2. My name is MattT. I've been imported out of Germany onto these fair British Isles, and I'm joined by Yatta Garasu. Yatta, my man, how are you doing on this beautiful Thursday evening?
Oh, very excited for the games tonight. We've got some very good games, one from Div 2 and then 2 from Div 1, both of which have big implications throughout this BIPL season. So I'm just excited to get going.
Yeah, I think we all are excited to get going, and let's just talk about this upcoming Div 2 match a little bit. We've got 4 players. We've got addyman, Magpie, BluBarry, and Matt. Two players of which have won both of their week 1 fixtures, so they're looking to build a strong performance because, of course, at the end of the season, there's promotion on the line.
Exactly, and there's not much wiggle room in Div 2. Only 3 places from Div 2 will be promoted, and there are some exceedingly good players that may already be favourites to go through. So the fact that 2 of the players here, with BluBarry and addyman0, have already won in Div 1, means that this is quite an important match between the 2 of them to see who can keep that 100% win rate going.
Yeah, it's almost like you want to really starting to stamp your authority on the season as early on as you can, and especially I think that battle between, as you said, addyman and BluBarry is going to be the one to watch here. But let's remind people of the format here. We've got 3 maps today, 2 of which we already know from last week, and then 1 new one for this week by, I think it was from Whiskey Drink, who created the new map for this week. All 3 of them are very difficult, and we are, of course, in reverse cut mode. Yatta, just quickly explain what that means.
Absolutely. So in reverse cut mode, you'll start off with a number of points, and then after each round, the winner will lose points, but the smallest amount of points, and then it'll be incremental going down from that. The lowest player, so the 4th place player, will lose the most points, and the increment between the different places will be greater the lower down you go.
Exactly, and practically that means all players start with 100 points to their name. A 4th place will lose you 10, 3rd place 6, a 2nd place 4, and 1st place will only lose you 2 measly points. So you get some wiggle room. It's not about it's very much about being consistently quick. It's not about not getting last. It's about being first every time.
Exactly. So if you become consistently 2nd place in each round, you'll do a lot better than someone who's coming 1st and then 3rd.
Exactly, and just rewarding that consistency is. I personally love to see the different game modes that Trackmania has. So obviously, we all know Cup of the Day mode, like normal cup mode. Then we've got like that knockout mode style. Then we've got normal cup mode where we're counting upwards. But reverse cup mode brings something different. It's mathematically more challenging for us in the casting booth, but it's also, I think, for the players, there's more at stake. It feels like, at least.
Yeah, definitely. And we've got now 5 seconds before we start. So it'll be very exciting to see how these players get going on the first few rounds. It's a bit of a warm-up, really, for the players, as it's a bit of a longer format with this. So you've got some time to sort of get into your groove, and then take it away from there.
We're going to take it away, and we're going to go into the first round here on Topi by Roquette, a map that all players have competed on last week, of course. We're going to start out here. It's, as you said, it's warm-up. It's easing yourself into the evening. You've got a bit of leeway anyway, considering that you do have 100 points at the beginning. But the 2 players that we said that we're going to watch are, of course, addyman and BluBarry.
And there've already been a few mistakes here. One from Magpie, and then a few more from Barry at the back. There's a bit of a gap already opening at the back of the field here. Up front now, we've got Matt and addyman0, very close up there. There's only a 0.2 difference. So we're going right to the end here to see if there's any chance for someone to pass the other one out. I think Matt has passed out addyman0, and they're coming up to the finish now. And just about Matt makes it through. It's a very good start from him. And he's actually in with a shout with this as well. We did some... Barry, that's one thing that we didn't actually mention. There's actually more points taken away for a DNF. So it's 10 for last place. However, if you DNF, you actually lose 12 points. So it's very important, even if you are having a bad round, to make sure that you do finish and you don't lose those additional points for no reason.
Yeah, very important. And I see that the points tallies are a bit different. First place only losing 1 point this round, second 3 points, and then third and fourth. Those were correct. So Matt with a strong start for him, but a weak start into the second round. 4 rounds are going to be played here on Topi before we switch map to the next one. No one doing any mistakes so far. And from playing them myself, all 3 maps are really difficult, and especially some of these transitions and this uphill here can catch you out massively.
Yes, very much so. I mean, I've definitely got a bit of a skill issue on these maps. I played them for longer than I'd like to admit, and got my times don't really reflect that. Matt, as we said before, is out on the back, but there's 3 up front here with Magpie, BluBarry, and addyman0. It's very close at the front between BluBarry and addyman0. Only less than 0.1 in it. And who'll get the best end here? It looks like it'll be addyman0, and he does. He holds on. Only 0.1 in it, however, so there's some pretty decent times for what we expect from Div 2. If they can keep it consistent like this, then it'll be a very interesting race.
Yeah, 56.1 is what we're seeing at the top right now. 56, anything below 56.5, quite strong within 1 second of the author medal, of course, and I believe within 2 seconds of world record as well. No one really giving themselves any problems, and addyman showing to be very consistent as well. 1 second place, 1 third place at the beginning, and I think a lot of them have just crashed in this third round.
Yeah, there's already been a mistake by Matt. There was a small mistake at the start from BluBarry, but he seems to be keeping pace now with the other 2 up front. It looks to be... Oh, that's another small mistake there from Barry. So you've got Magpie AI and addyman0 up front. So just following here with addyman0, and he is just behind Magpie, 0.2 in it, but there's plenty of time to be made up on the second half of this map, especially on the drifts here. It's very easy to make up time with a sharper drift, but obviously you'll be pressing a much tighter line. But it looks to be quite... oh, there's a small mistake there from Magpie. Will addyman0 have the speed to pass him? It's very close here. Will he snipe at the end? No, Magpie just holds on. Less than 0.1 in it again. And this was a bit of a slower round here. We were looking at that 56.5. They'd be hoping to get lower in the 56s there for a more consistent round.
Yeah, everyone not really finding the ideal lines throughout this round here. Just struggling to get towards their top, but it's addyman being the most consistent of the bunch. Matt on the other side, great start to this map, great start here on Topi, but ever since that first round where he finished first, just had a bit of a nightmare, now losing, I think, being in last place every other round. As we go into the last one here on Topi, addyman leading up front, but it's still very, very close. BluBarry, a slight mistake, falling 4/10 back, but everything's still doable for him.
And another big mistake there from Matt, and he's now back in 4th place. There have been mistakes from everybody this round, apart from addyman0, who's still out quite far in front at this point. If he can keep it consistent from here, he'll win another round. But as we said before, it's all about consistency here, and it's really showing where you can see the difference in points between addyman0, BluBarry, and Matt. There's a big gap developing.
addyman pretty much going into a league of himself here, as he consistently and quite easily outclasses his opponent. Some of the rounds have been close. This one, however, not close at all. 6/10 in the end there in it for addyman, and everyone else really just feathering into that sort of 6/10 gap. But that was our first time here on Topi. addyman, 92 points remaining from him. Matt, 69. Nice points for him there at the end. So it's looking a bit desperate for Matt. He needs to have a stronger look here on map number 2 on Sharpen. Of course, also a map that these players know and have played last week.
Yes, very much so. And addyman, they're getting just under the 56 margin on that last round, which is a good time, but the rest will probably be a little bit more disappointed on their performance in terms of times at least, as well as consistency. So they'll be hoping to pick it up more now on Sharpen. This is a very difficult map. I know this myself, having tried to practice it. This is probably the most difficult one that I've played so far. So again, consistency key. We'll have to see who can keep it together on this map and make the least mistakes.
Exactly. We have to watch and see that the players, don't get tempted to go exactly on this corner here by a BluBarry. Don't go too far inside on that long grass slide left into the tight little dirt section. Everything very, very tight and technical there, very twisty. What Mime has built, it's not easy in the slightest, and the players are still warming up to it. on this evening, so we can't expect the best consistency of them today as BluBarry, getting all the mistakes out of his way in warm-up. That's what you want to do.
Yeah, well, that's what I'll be hoping he's done anyway. We'll see how much it comes to fruition, but I'm excited to see how well they'll do on the map this week.
So let's see, and let's go in first round of 4 here on Sharp, and it's addyman in the lead with 92 points remaining, Magpie 84 points, BluBarry 75, and Matt with just 69 points remaining. Everyone getting a decent start, all within 3/10 of one another, keeping this gear on the plastic. No one really bonking, and as I said, I absolutely, completely cursed BluBarry out of existence.
Absolutely, and BluBarry comes into this with the fastest week 1 time on this. We've been given some statistics for the week 1 times and what their best times were there, and Barry had a pretty significant lead of 0.5 seconds on his week 1 PB. But as you can see, Matt is coming in this week and on this map, coming out the gate very fast. No mistakes so far, and I say that no intention to curse anybody, so if it happens, not my fault. He's going here for the safe finish. He didn't have enough speed or the lineup for the risky finish, and he actually he got sniped on the line.
He actually got sniped. He didn't have the speed for the risky finish there, upside down, hanging from the ceiling, and Magpie half a tenth in it, just completely snipes him. Good round for Magpie. Just getting ever closer to the top to addyman, but absolutely shambolic for BluBarry, dropping back to last. And you could see a trend slowly developing. BluBarry might have won his week 1 match, but this week he's not just in it yet. 1 point is his deficit to 3rd place, but it's
big
20
mistake there from
points.
addyman0. He crashed the start, and now he's over 1.5 seconds behind.
Matt as well.
Is that another mistake? That's another mistake from Matt. So up front now we've got BluBarry and Magpie. And after... Oh, another mistake here from Matt, and he's falling even farther behind. So it's going to be close here. We'll have to see if it comes down to the risky finish again. Magpie, we saw from the first round, is able to go for it, and he's able to pass people out on the line. Will BluBarry get the line up for it? Will he be able to get this risky finish? Assuming no mistakes until then. Oh, he was very close to the wall there, but here comes the line up to the finish. Magpie lining it up here, going wide to get that extra speed. Barry doesn't seem to have enough speed. He hits the finish and Magpie snipes him.
Oh, disaster!
And then addyman finishes and then Barry. Will Matt finish?
Yes, he is.
Yes, he will, just in time.
Absolute
Barry.
Oh, shambles, disaster for BluBarry. He had it in his grasp, but he just missed that little bit of speed for the risky finish. Just widening the gap right now is Magpie and addyman at the front of the field. 25 points now in it between them. I think we found our favorites for this match. Let's see Matt getting a no different, just bonking. He will be out of contention. He just needs to claw his way back, possibly into 3rd, hoping that the people in front of him do get some mistakes as well.
And it's a very different top 2 than what we were saying before this. Coming out of the week 1 results, you would have expected it to be BluBarry and addyman. But what it looks like now is it's very much between Magpie and addyman. And we'll have to see if BluBarry can pick up and improve his consistency on these maps. But so far, it's been slightly disappointing, you have to say, for him. And we're coming up against this risky finish.
Oh, no.
Another mistake from Barry. Now we're on to the top 2 here with Magpie and addyman. Will Magpie get another snipe on the line here? Or will it be addyman? No, he gets a good finish. And where is Magpie? The Magpie finishes, okay, going for the safe finish. And then we've got BluBarry coming in after Matt. So that's another poor performance there. Another mistake from Barry, which is taking him even further down. And he's getting pretty far away from those top 2 now, which would be very disappointing for him.
He's getting very far away indeed, and everyone just having a mistake there on this round, except for that man in first place, except for addyman, who's been able to keep it clean, and his consistency really is being rewarded. He is in the lead.
Another mistake from Barry.
Barely in the lead, but as you said, another mistake coming out early. We're just down to our top 3. Matt having a good start for once. He definitely needs to recover. It's not been the best performance from him. He can be lucky that he's not the only one having not the best start to the evening, and I say that, and he bumps again. Oh no.
And now we're on with the top 2. We've got Magpie and addyman, but addyman's quite far ahead now. He's at 0.8 on Magpie. He could even go for the safe finish at this point and still have plenty enough time to win the round. Matt is still in third with BluBarry in fourth, but at this point, it looks to be, unless there's any big mistakes from anyone, it looks to be the order that they'll finish this round in. Will addyman go for the finish here? Will he go for the risky, or will he safe it? That's a big mistake. Oh, he's in the finish! And Magpie will overtake him on the line, and Barry will come in second somehow after that early mistake.
Barry just keeping it clean after the mistake. Matt struggling with the finish as well. Not finished yet. Finish? He will go for the safe finish, and yeah, he does. Just in the nick of time, but addyman throwing it all away, throwing for content, as it were, comfortably in first place. But the risky finish, it did deny him at the end, and now that was our last round on Sharpen, and we go into the new map for this week. We go into Menace, built by Agent Whiskey, and having played this map today and having tested it out, to see where the tricky spots are, I would say the map name is very appropriate.
Yes, very much so. It's a very difficult map. It's arguable whether it's as difficult as Sharpen. I didn't find it as difficult myself, but to be honest, all the maps I found far too difficult for my skill level anyway. So it doesn't, so it's not really saying too much. It's still a very difficult map, but it's very fun to play. And all the players will be hoping they're more consistent on this than they were on Sharpen, to be honest.
Yeah, definitely, and it's a map typical of Agent Whiskey. He likes those sort of narrow transitions, like we see here, a couple checkpoints placed upside down. This, to really make players work for their achievement, make players work for getting deeper and deeper into the track. The finish also not free at all.
No, very much so. It's very difficult. The map in general, it's very transitional on plastic to road and then grass to road, and you have to make sure you've got the correct lineup to make sure you don't lose speed, but you still have the right angle to complete the next corner. It'll be very interesting to see, as this is the first time this will have been played for these players in a match setting, who's the most consistent and who has got the correct lines and the correct speed for this map.
Yeah, it's very much a case of who has this map figured out. The players had, I think, 1 week to train on here, so they should all be very familiar with it. Let's see who can bring it to the competition as well. There's always the difference between practice and competition, and it's also the longest map up until now. Both maps before sort of in the 55-second range, this one more about 10 seconds longer, so concentration also going to be a big factor. But Magpie, addyman and Matt already securing themselves a spot in the top 3. Barry falling a bit behind.
Very much, and looking here, it's actually quite close between the top 3, only 0.4 between all of them. There is time to be gained in this latter half of the map, so it'll be interesting to see who can keep that going and who has the best end. Oh, the mistake there from Matt up front. Now it's down to a top 2 with Magpie and addyman. It seems like we've been saying that a lot this match so far, but who'll get the better end? There's a mistake there from Addy, and Magpie will get the finish.
Magpie getting the finish, getting a snipe at the end there, just because addyman, he's a little bit too far on the inside on that last little dirt corner. It's a tough one, that one. It catches you out because you think you have to go over to the left rather quickly, but it just keeps going. It keeps going. But for Matt, it's really looking very dangerous. He cannot allow himself to DNF, or then he might fall out on this map already. He's only got 30 points remaining. He's showing good potential time and time again, but unfortunately just lacks the consistency to really see it through to the end, and he already bongs on the first checkpoint. Those upside down checkpoints, they catch you out, man.
Yeah, it's very good that you've sort of shown that then. As you said, it happened, and there's another mistake there from Magpie and addyman. This is the perfect example here for Barry to be able to pull away. Let's see if he can keep it consistent throughout this round. It hasn't been the case so far, but if he keeps it going, he'll be down 1 point, and it's a 1 point that he'll really need compared to the ones he's been losing so far. It's a very big gap. It's almost a 2-tiered system here, with Magpie and addyman up front, and Barry and Matt making a lot of mistakes and looking like they'll be going down to finalists sooner rather than later.
Yeah, that last chance creeping ever closer, but Magpie not able to catch up with Barry. He's going to finish a very, very clean run in the 103s. Very strong indeed. I think the world record here is along the lines of the low 102, so definitely nothing too bad for Div 2. addyman finishing in last, and then Matt at least not losing 10 just losing 6. But in regards to BluBarry, the gaps are still rising. Magpie, though, able to solidify his lead at the front.
Yeah, very much so. I think we'll need some very consistent driving here from both Matt and Barry to catch up to the two up front at this point. It's been a very disastrous start, really, for the two of them. It'll be good to see between addyman and Magpie who pulls away, or if either of them really pull away from the other. You can kind of see at this point that Magpie does have a bit of a lead, but addyman's looked quite a bit quicker throughout. He's just made a few more mistakes, which is exactly what we were saying before the round started here. It really is all down to consistency. And as you can see, there haven't been any sort of major... Well, okay, say that addyman has made a big mistake, and now we're down to the top 3. There's 0.5 between the 3 of them. Barry in 3rd, Matt's in 2nd, and Magpie in 1st.
Yeah, and everyone making small mistakes except for Magpie, who's been able to keep it clean throughout. Matt, though, coming back at him, having an inside line superior speed as well. Now it's all about the dirt turn. Who can take the most banking on exit? It's going to be Barry. Beat advantage for him. Good last turn as well, and he's going to go over Matt, getting first place there at the end, but the top 3 covered within 1.5 tenths. Magpie losing out, but not as big as addyman, and Matt a very much needed 2nd place finish for him.
Yeah, and that was a really good end there from Barry. He was in 3rd place coming onto the dirt section, and he managed to keep so much speed just by taking that banking and making sure he didn't go too inside on that last corner, taking Magpie right at the end there.
Taking Magpie, he did, but he has to do it a lot more times if he wants to have any chance going back and just keeping his chances of winning this match alive. Everyone choosing to go outside of the pole. Personally, found myself going inside of that pole just because I thought it's a more consistent setup. No one bonking just yet.
You say that. 2 bonks there, 1 from Barry and 1 from Magpie. We've got the top 2 now here with addyman and Matt. Matt's been a lot more consistent, a lot quicker on this map. He's got a lot less points taken away from him so far. And up front, there's not too much in it, 0.4. That's definitely catchable at the end with a really good dirt section. And if we go close now, we can see that there's 0.4 still not really getting any closer. Matt's taking a very good line there, keeping the speed. As long as there's no mistakes, he should. I say as long as there's no mistakes, but he still manages it. The risky finish is quite forgiving on this map. Even if you're going slow, you can just take more of the jump to still make it. It's not like the risky finish we see on Sharpen, where if you don't have the speed, if you go for it, you'll just bonk. It's a little bit more forgiving in that respect. So he was still able to keep the lead that he had for the rest of... that he built up throughout the round there and keep it to the end.
Yeah, the risky finish not being all that risky on Menace. But with that, we've finished... we finished our first rotation through all 3 maps today, of course, and now we're going to go back to Topi. But the scores don't reflect that. We've only been doing 1 run through at the halfway point. It's Magpie on 62 points, addyman with 50, and then at the bottom 2, with BluBarry at 28, and Matt just having 20 points left to his name. 2 last place finishes, and he will be going into last chance mode. Then, of course, he still has to finish last one more time. So he could theoretically live on borrowed time for quite a bit and drag some people down with him. But given the points difference, that seems unlikely.
Yeah, very much so. And based on the consistency that we've seen so far from the lower 2 in this match, it'll be tough to keep not making mistakes and not come last. But one thing that will be interesting to see is it does look a bit more like Matt and Barry have warmed up based on the ends of the last 2 maps. So it'll be good to see whether it's just a map-based thing or whether it's that they are actually now warmed up and should be making less mistakes on Topi and Sharpen.
I mean, we maybe it's also just a case of the map just favored their natural flow a bit more. Maybe they were just feeling Menace that little bit more, but that doesn't matter as we're going back here on to Topi. Second time of asking what first out of 4 rounds, and they've already been one mistake and 1 missed gear there. So addyman and BluBarry fighting at the very top.
Yep, there's nothing between them at all, going through the checkpoints at the same time. Barry seems to have more speed coming out of this line here, and he's taken that and he's adding a bit of a lead. But there's a mistake, he's touched the wall. And now it's all up to addyman0. Can he get through the rest of the map without making any mistakes here? Matt and Magpie are pretty close in 3rd and 4th. There's nothing between them, and Barry as well. There's 0.1 between all 3 of them. Barry's in 4th, Magpie's in 3rd, Matt's in 2nd, and in fact they all have quite a lot of speed. Barry's passed both of them, and Matt gets 3rd. Magpie made a mistake on the jump. He didn't have enough speed. Will he finish? Yes, he will.
He will finish, but it will cost him a lot of points at the very top. Just wanted to go a little bit too aggressive, had a lot of speed coming out of that last air turn, but wanted to go too aggressive there in the end, trying to cut and minimize his airtime as best he could, but just a little bit too low on that jump.
That's really closed the gap at the top here. There's now only 3 points between addyman and Magpie, and we'll just see who can keep it more consistent throughout this round here. No mistakes at the start. There was quite a lot of mistakes on that corner. That is one of the more difficult parts of this map. And we can see here, going into this drift here, who'll keep more speed coming out of it. It looks pretty similar between all 3 at the front. Magpie's at about 0.7 behind the leader here. It's not insurmountable, but that would be very difficult to do at this sort of level of competition. But all 3 at the front at the moment could, with a good drift setup and a good ending, catch up and win the first place for this round.
Yeah, but Magpie really catching up and trying to minimize his disadvantage, going very close indeed, from 7 tenths down to 3 tenths and a bit. Can he snipe someone at the end? Possibly. No, he's catching up, he's gaining on Matt, but he can't gain enough. It's all very close, and if it wasn't for Magpie's mistake at the beginning, he might as well have been in the shot of winning this round. But as it stands, he will lose another 10 points and losing the lead as well to addyman. But at the very bottom, it's Matt on just 8 points remaining. It's really squeaky bum time for him now.
Very much. It's been a bit more consistent throughout this map so far since we've gone back around. We've done 1 loop. It does look like players have warmed up a bit, and that last round I think was a great example of that. It was a brilliant ending from Magpie. It was unfortunate that he did make a small mistake at the start, because that was a pretty fast round. It was a 56-1, and Magpie was gaining all throughout the second half there. So him there setting up in 3rd, well in 4th now, that doesn't mean he's out of it. He can just push and have a good chance of catching them at the end here, based on what we saw in the last round.
Yeah, and it's all very close together as we head into this last final section of this map. addyman, the very wide setup, BluBarry trying to emulate him, carrying more speed into it. All 3 are very close. Matt, I think he's brushed the border. BluBarry coming in from 4th to take 2nd, but Matt at the very bottom, just that one little tap against the wall, costing him just enough speed to get sniped by Magpie at the end as well. And now we are on the verge of losing our first competitor. It's a last chance for Matt.
Last chance for Matt. It was a very good round overall there. There was nothing between them. Magpie did have a lot of speed going into the end, but I think he just pushed it a bit too much and clipped going over the last jump. He did actually go up into 1st for a second there. And now it's, as you say, squeaky bum time for Matt. We need to make sure there's no mistakes here from him. And he is currently in 4th place. If he finishes here, that will be end of this week for Matt. So can he catch up here? He's looked quite quick. It's the mistakes that have really cost him. But so far, since we've come back onto Topi, everyone seems to be performing quite well. And he's pretty close. He's only 0.1 behind BluBarry, who would be his closest competition at this point anyway. But he seems to be losing ground to them coming into the ending here. He has a good lineup, and he's got quite a bit of speed. He can pass addyman here. Will he hold it throughout the ending? He's going very inside. He has less speed, but he's got also less distance to cover. Will he hold it? And he does. Magpie in 1st, BluBarry 2nd, Matt in 3rd, and addyman in 4th.
He barely holds it together at the end there. He will survive. Good for him. Bad for the rest, of course. But that was our last round on Typer for this round, and for this visit. We might not see it again this match, not today. We will see it again this in the later stages of this evening, but for now I don't think we will see that map again. So we head into Sharpen for the second time. It's addyman on 37, very close at the front there with Magpie on 35, BluBarry on 60, and of course Matt still in last chance, not being able to afford any more fourth place finishes.
No, very much, but he did look quite quick on this map, especially at the start. He would come out of the start in first place. It's just, can he keep the consistency? And based on the warm-up, I'm a little bit nervous.
He wasn't the most. He was quick here on Sharpen was map, but it wasn't necessarily as consistent as he needed to be to avoid landing in fourth place. I think this was really the map that really broke his back last time around. So hopefully he can get it together here and maybe drag someone else down to the last chance spot. BluBarry, of course, being the most likely, but you know, you can never count out a rogue hitting the risky finish into finishing instead of finishing second to finishing fourth.
Well, this map showed it the first way round. There were so many missed finishes, risky finishes, hits, respawns, everything. Anything can happen on this map when you're coming into the ending. It's just keeping it consistent. We keep drilling this home, but it's so true. It'd be good to see which of them do keep it consistent, which of them push it a bit too hard and pay the price. For Matt, anything besides last place is good for him. So if he can keep it consistent and one other player makes a mistake, he's still in with a chance. And so far, there's been a small mistake from Magpie. He's 0.6 behind, which is obviously very good for Matt. But out in front, addyman is looking to push that lead. Magpie coming last would be obviously 10 points lost for him, and addyman at first would be 1 for him. So Matt is not only not coming last, but he's currently coming first. So he's doing exactly what he needs to do here. And in fact, if he does come first, it just means that his competitors will lose points quicker, and he'll have a chance to knock some of them out first. Coming up to the risky finish here. Will Matt make the risky finish? Will he go for it? Will he go safe? He goes for the risky finish, and he does make it just about. It's just ahead of addyman, who came in second, and then in last place is BluBarry. He made a mistake in the second half of that track, and that is a big issue for him. If he gets third or below in this round, he will also be into last chance.
Yeah, third or BluBarry needs to finish as high up as possible, but it's interesting to see with last chance, because it's almost like you switch game modes back to knockouts, where it doesn't matter where you finish as long as you don't finish last. As long as you don't finish in that knockout zone, you're doing all well for Matt, and he can drag as many people down with him as he possibly can, and he's already dragging down BluBarry, who's having a good start on Matt. And then a no drift. Oh, the mistakes just snowballing down, and now he has to start the fight back.
Yes, and he's here now in fourth place. He's got 0.6 to the players in front. However, he will need to push as hard as possible, or hope upon hope for a mistake from Barry or Magpie up front. And the lead isn't shrinking here. He's got quite a lot of speed coming out the end. He really is pushing it. Oh, and he's very close now to Magpie. Will he go for the risky finish? Will they all go for the risky finish? They do, and they all finish. So that is where we say goodbye to Matt for this week.
They all make the risky finish. Matt just getting within 2 tenths there at the end, but unfortunately not able to close it out and not able to just get back into it. But there's no time to dwell on Matt's exit. We've already set our eyes on the next target, and that, of course, is BluBarry there on 3 points. He just has 3 rounds left where he can put other people into dangerous positions, and he needs to have a good finish here. He needs to finish first, ideally from now on, consistently as well.
Yes, and as he's on 3 points at this stage, that does mean no matter what happens, he will be in last chance. The way that the scoring will work now is because one of the players is out, the amount of points that you would have got for first place is now removed. So if you come first, you'll get the amount you would have got for second, and so on. So last place will still lose 10, second last will lose 6, and then first place will lose 3. So Barry will be in last chance. addyman's made a mistake. That's a big issue for him. That means he will be losing 10 points, and Magpie will be closing in. Barry will be going for the risky as well, and both will make it. So addyman will just about make it as well.
addyman just about making it. I don't think even if he had to respawn, he wasn't in the danger of getting the DQ. But as you say, BluBarry losing 6 for second place and is now in a last chance as well, not being able to afford to finish in a last place. Has to get someone behind him, be that addyman or be that a Magpie. We shall see. Go into our last round here on Sharpen before we're heading back to Menace, and there was a wall touch. There were 2 wall touches, both from Magpie and BluBarry at the beginning.
And Magpie is still in 3rd place. He's 0.4 off Barry. Barry's actually caught back up to addyman here. He had a good section after making that mistake. It was only a small touch. Magpie's was a bit heavier. So as it currently stands, Magpie will be losing 10 points and Barry will still be safe. It's very close at the front, less than 0.1 again in it. Will there be any mistakes, any risky finish issues, incidents, or will Magpie be in with a chance here to gain some points? He's made a big mistake here, so it doesn't look like it. Barry's now out in 1st place, addyman's in 2nd. They'll both go for the risky here, and BluBarry will manage to make it, as will addyman. So that'll be 6 points lost for addyman, 10 points for Magpie, and that's really important because even though Barry says he's losing 3 points, he doesn't lose any because he's in last chance. And getting the other players to lose a lot of points is the quickest way for him to have a chance to actually win this match, or at least not make it into 3rd place.
It's now about staying alive for BluBarry, and he's done a fantastic job in his 1st round on a last chance mode. Now we go into map number 3. We go back to Menace by Agent Whiskey. The longest map, probably the map that's most prone towards making errors or having just that wrong entry into a corner, and that of course could cost both addyman and BluBarry and Magpie dearly. addyman is still safe on 17 points. He's not too worried just yet, but Magpie slowly but surely probably feeling the pressure as well. Only 10 points, so he really cannot afford to finish last.
Yeah, but at this stage of the competition, that is only 2 last places, or 2 third places. It makes it sound even less of a big deal. So if addyman comes 3rd twice, he's now in last chance, and if it goes that many rounds, Magpie will probably also be in last chance. There is a high possibility here, if BluBarry doesn't make any mistakes, as I see him crash and warm up, that we might get 3 last chances here, which would be very exciting for us. Not so much the players, but definitely for us.
Yeah, definitely very exciting, very hyped for us here in the casting booth. But yeah, the players, I don't know if they would need new heart medication maybe after everyone is going to be in a last chance. But we will see that here. 1st round on Menace, 2nd time of asking on this map. BluBarry, we've seen, has had a strong showing the 1st time around, and does have the best local record between the 4 players in this match. Currently his best at 103.7 on the evening. Matt was the 2nd best, incidentally, with a 104.1. The other 2 a bit further behind on 104.3s and 102.4s respectively for Magpie and addyman. And it's BluBarry already taking the lead. addyman not finding the ideal lines just yet in the beginning.
No, and he didn't look that good on this map the 1st time around either. He's got a lot of speed though coming out of this, maybe even too much speed. He got a bit of airtime there, but it really is close between all 3 of them. There's only 0.3 coming into descending, but a mistake here from Magpie, and that will be good news for both addyman and BluBarry. Can they keep it consistent now to the end? Will there be any further mistakes? Really, Barry can just take it a bit easier. He doesn't need to full risk here. The risky finish isn't that risky anyway. If he takes it calm. Oh, he's touched
the wall.
He's touched.
Still going.
Oh, and so did addyman. addyman's not going to make it. addyman comes last.
That looked really weird from addyman. Did he break? Did he turn in too early? I didn't really see what happened there. But
he clipped the barrier on the way out and didn't have enough speed.
He clipped it. Oh, I was like, that looked perfectly. Did he hit the brake? Like something just fell off. But addyman losing 10 points and losing his advantage over Magpie. All 3 players now cannot afford to finish last, especially not BluBarry, of course, who, well, he's been in this situation for about 5 rounds now. So
it feels like half the match, to be honest. But yeah,
he's chill. He's like, I know this place. This is comfortable.
Yeah, and it's really close between the 3 of them. There was almost a mistake there at the start from addyman. He clipped the edge of the border, and if he'd have properly hit that, then that would have been a massive time loss. But it's Barry's looks very good on this map so far. addyman seems to have speed, especially in the second half of the map. Magpie's been a bit slower on that, but he's got a good start. There is a bit of a lead developing here, 0.3 at the start, but really, if there are any mistakes, that's where the big shifts happen in the positions. It's really close at the back here between addyman and Magpie. If addyman comes last and Magpie comes second last, that would be 3 finalists. But as it currently stands, Barry's going to be staying in. And Magpie takes a really risky line here, has more speed, but gets
Barry failed!
Barry failed!
Barry failed! He had the exact same mistake that he did last time. And it will cost him dearly. He is not getting the jump, and Barry is eliminated before dragging Magpie into last chance as well. And now it's a straight shootout between addyman and Magpie. addyman has 1 life more. He can afford 1 more mistake than Magpie, who has to drive flawlessly.
Yes, and it's been interesting to see, and addyman's actually got a very good start this time. He's already 0.1 up on Magpie. Will he be able to keep this through the next few sections? As we've seen, he does have a good end and a better end than Magpie. So it'll be all up on Magpie now to push as hard as he can, see if he can keep that speed through. And there's a mistake there from addyman. He had to full release. He's now 0.2 behind. Will he have the pace to catch back up through the second section of the map? It'll be interesting to see. Here he comes through the dirt section, and he's actually losing more time. He's nearly half a second behind now. Will there be any mistakes out front? He's keeping a lot of speed through this dirt section, though. He's got more than Magpie. Will he be able to take through onto the grass? It looks like he's got a lot of speed here. Coming up to the end of the big mistake, then Magpie. This looks to be it. addyman can safe it now. All he needs to do is not make any mistakes. He can take it slow. He's even going the safe finish. He had plenty of time to do so. And that is a win in this match for addyman. And second place to Magpie, third to BluBarry, and then a 4th place for Matt.
Yeah, win for addyman. Second win in the second week for him. We told everyone at the beginning, keep an eye out on addyman. He might not be the fastest on every map, but he was supremely quick here on that first map on Topi. He had a bit of problem on Menace, and he has to get a hold of that for coming into next week. But definitely a very strong match overall. At the very end, very close. Matt also, even though he was eliminated just a little bit too quickly, He was able to keep it close, but yeah, there we go. Standings of this match included into the table after week 2. addyman on 8 points in Division 2. BluBarry going on 6. So is Magpie. Matt falling a little bit behind in the standings.
Yep, and it would be a bit disappointing for some of the players in this match here. We've got BluBarry, who would have been hoping for a lot more over this match. And as I said at the start, it was quite important for the overall standings and for who qualifies to get up to Div 1 here. And I think we're now going to go across to a quick break, and we will see you all after this. And we are back. That was a very exciting game. Came up very close at the end there. Just a bit short from both Barry and Magpie. And we're going to go now over to the analyst desk. So let me introduce MattT and Leo. Hello, guys.
Hello.
So what do we think of that game?
Oh, it was exciting. Very good racing. I guess we're all sad we didn't see the BluBarry comeback. But other than that, it was really enjoyable.
Yeah, very much so. Barry had a pretty poor start the first go round and seemed to pull it back a lot in the end, just making sure not to come last. And actually, a lot of rounds he was coming first. And it would have been super exciting to see a 3 last chance final, but it looks like it wasn't to be. What did you think of how they handled the maps, Leo?
Yeah, I thought it was a pretty close match at points. I would say in terms of pace, is quite similar across the board, although a few players struggled to finish some rounds without crashing. I think that was the main differentiating factor, but considering this is Division 2, some very close matches, which I thought was great.
Yeah, and we talked a lot on the cast about consistency and the importance of consistency on these maps. These maps, from at least from my perspective, seem quite difficult. How can you explain to the viewers how difficult these maps would actually be for players, especially with a week's preparation?
Yeah, sure. So for those who haven't played the maps, they're quite different to the sort of thing you'd see in a Cup of the Day. They're quite technical. You don't really have much time to orient yourself in between turns. So you have to have like pretty good muscle memory and quick reactions. One of the biggest things with a lot of these maps is being able to recover from a line that deviates from the ideal line. So a lot of turns, let's take one of the maps, Menace, for example. The tech turns on that, the drifts, and quite a few of them, it's easy to lose a gear. And if you do that, you'll have to adjust your line for the parts afterwards. And it's being able to make those slight adjustments mid-round that really differentiates like a great player who can be consistent from a player who's maybe just starting out in their competitive journey.
Yeah, I was quite impressed myself from some of the players from Div 2. We have obviously Div 1, which we're going to see some of the games from later. But considering this is theoretically weaker players, the fact that they're able to be consistent and so fast on some of the maps was I'm not going to say a surprise, but I was quite impressed. The one I guess exception to this was at the start in Sharpen. There was quite a lot of mistakes, especially in the ending. What do you think about the ending to that map? And would you say we were right and it is one of the more difficult maps, or probably the most difficult map out of the map pack so far?
Yeah, so I think both myself and Amma are familiar with that one. My view on it is that it's quite hard to judge whether or not you make the jump based on like the speed that you have. I found that it was almost a bit deceptive. It was further away than you thought it was, so it's quite easy to undershoot it. And I noticed we saw quite a few players taking it safe in the earlier rounds, and then when it mattered, when they had to risk, actually falling short. So definitely one of the more tricky ends out of the map pack. I think that along with Menace, but Menace might be slightly more difficult.
Yeah, and we got to see Menace for the first time this week, and it was quite an exciting map, and it made for a very exciting end to that match. There was obviously the BluBarry comeback story, which then unfortunately ended as part of the risky finish there. And there was a lot of clipping actually coming into the last corner just before that risky finish. Is that just a difficult corner, or was it that the players were pushing too much at the end there? Or was it just some mistakes that shouldn't really be sort of happening, I guess, is the question.
It is a difficult end. It's not that the players were, feeling the pressure every round and just choking. I would say it's definitely a hard one. Amma, you were commenting on that as we were watching it.
Yeah, actually, like the third turn looked not like the hardest, but I guess it's at the end of the map, so pressure's up there, and apparently you saw they changed the ending even. So maybe that's also a reason.
Well, you mentioned about the map length and it being at the end of the map. One thing that is true is that Menace is a longer map out of the three. Would that have had an effect, the fact that it's at the end of one of the longer maps as well in the competition? Yeah,
obviously, like focus is a big thing, and after like a minute of driving, you tend to lose it a bit. But I don't know, I really enjoyed watching it, and it made like almost a great storyline with the BluBarry comeback, and him crashing there also. I don't know, just shows how difficult it is. But guys, we have the winner of the last match here, which is addyman. Welcome.
Hey.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, my man. How did you feel the match?
Well, I'm glad it was entertaining to watch because all those walls I hit, all those gears I lost, it wasn't too entertaining to play. But, you know, got there in the end.
I mean, either way, you came out with a with 2 wins in 2 weeks now, which you must be very happy about.
Yeah, I completely bottled the qualification week, so I'm hoping to get in the top 3 for this season.
Yeah, there's 3 qualification spots, right? And there's some very stiff competition for that top 3 qualification, and I guess every week's going to be quite important for you on that side. Are you sort of feeling confident for that? How do you feel your chances are for that? I guess it helps now after having 2 wins in 2 weeks, but
yes, it helps a lot. I don't think, like, from what I've seen of the pace, the people that are properly challenging for top 3 in Div 2 I've played against yet. So the real test is going to be like next week when I'm against Vinyo, or week 4 when against Roy Boy. So hopefully, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned Roy Boy there. I was just going to say we have the scoreboard on the screen right now, and you're both basically sitting on 8 points at the top of the table. So on paper, 2 favourites. How do you feel about your chances for the whole season? You know, you've played 2 games now. You know, we've got a few weeks to go. Are you confident? Do you think you've had a good run of maps, or are you pretty happy with how things have gone, and regardless of the next maps, you'll be in good stead to make the top?
I think this week I played extremely scrappy, and that's not going to be good enough for the top 3 overall. But I'm confident that I can get more consistent as the weeks go on. And we have less final corner changes than the day before.
Yeah,
wonderful.
Hopefully that's a one-off. Did you have much time to practice the new end to that track before the match?
No, not really. And yeah, it was a bit of a struggle, as you might have seen. Potentially.
Yeah, well, everyone was in the same boat.
Were they?
Quite a few people crashing the end. It wasn't just you, so at least take some comfort in that. But yeah, hopefully the only time we'll see a map change like that in the season. But yeah.
Okay, well, thank you very much for that, addyman, and congratulations again, and best of luck in the following weeks.
Thank you very much.
Okay, we're going to wrap up briefly now for another break, and then we'll come back after that for even more BIPL action.